you will always be skinny. See, if you've grown up skinny, you've probably heard that saying more often than not. People will randomly come up to you, put their hand around your wrist, and make fun of how much space is left, right? I've gained about 15 kgs, right? My wrist hasn't increased. So if you want that to stop, I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe the wrist exercises. But when it comes to the wrist, I'm afraid that we're all doomed. If you're watching this, the sad thing is that you've always been skinny. But the opportunity is, if you listen to what I'm going to tell you, you won't be in a few months. Before I continue, if you're interested, the first link in the description is to my paid community where I help skinny people gain weight. That is my target, because I've never been fat, but I have been skinny and I know your pain. So first link in the description and you'll see it there. When I first started working out, I actually had a bit of backlash. It wasn't a backlash. I'm like, what are you doing? You should never do that. Why do you think you want to be better than us? It was more so people saying, you're skinny and what are you doing? But I'd actually started working out seriously. But there was actually this one time, about 3 months into me starting to work out seriously, that I'd organized this breakfast with 2 of my friends. One was a girl and one was a guy. The guy was someone who had been in the gym for like the past 2 years. He was serious, so he was much bigger than I. So naturally, because there were 2 people who are now interested in fitness, we started talking about fitness and gym during the breakfast, right? So then the girl looked at the other guy and he was like, I can see that you've gained a bit of muscle, you're looking good. And then she looked at me and she was like, Takura, you'll always be skinny. And I was like, When I tell you that, it actually like broke my heart. I was actually like, damn, for real. But then on the outside, I didn't show it. I just smirked on the outside. But on the inside, I was like, no, I'm going to prove you so wrong. I can't believe that you said that to me. And she was one of my best friends at the time. And I was like, damn. In that moment, I promised myself that I was going to shed the identity of being skinny. I've never been called skinny since. That was the last time I was called skinny. I promised myself that I was going to do everything that I could to become who I thought I was, and that is a muscular person. I shed the identity of being skinny and I adopted the identity of being someone who's into gym, being someone who's constantly fit, who constantly has a good looking body. And if you've grown up skinny, you might even be attached to that identity of being skinny. You might even identify with it, not even being attached. You know, sometimes we identify with things that bring uncomfortable results, things that people make fun of us, not because we want to identify with them, but because it's comfortable, it's known, it's what's always been. So it's odd that sometimes the human brain would rather sit in what's known but not good for you than venture into the unknown. Because working out all the time, being consistent, gaining weight, being 10 kgs heavier, it's an unknown for you. And there's a lot of resistance when you try go into that unknown. Your brain will be like, why are we doing this? Not even your brain, your subconscious mind will be like, why are we doing this? You're skinny. You've always been skinny. That's okay. That's what we know. Let's stay that way. And you find ways to sabotage yourself unless you change your identity. So genuinely, you have to fight this identity with all your might. You have to set out to prove everyone wrong, but more importantly, to prove yourself right. I'm sure there are people who have said stuff about you being skinny, like, you're always going to be skinny. Oh, look at how skinny you are, twigs, huh? You look like a skeleton. People say that you should never do anything for anyone, right? But I think sometimes you take all the motivation you can get. So in this case, if people are saying, you can't do something, be motivated by the thought of proving them wrong. And like I said, more importantly, you prove yourself right. And now you need to change the way that you speak to yourself. You have to tell yourself a different story that has a better ending. Because a lot of the times when you're skinny, you look in the mirror and you say, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny. So you're reinforcing that state. You're reinforcing that belief. And what you believe, 9 times out of 10, will contribute to your actions. So if you're always telling yourself, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, you're going to do the actions of a skinny person. That's like, eventually you're just going to chill. It's going to stop. It's going to reach a plateau. You're going to reach that ceiling that I was talking about in my last video. So now you need to tell yourself a story that isn't lying to yourself. Because let's say telling yourself when you're skinny and you tell yourself, I'm big, you're lying. And your brain knows you're lying, so it won't accept it. But what I used to do when I was like, when I had made no progress, even on day 1, I would tell myself I'm getting large. I'm getting large. I'm getting bigger. Not that I was already big, but then I'm getting bigger. Because what that story has is now in the present moment. That story tells me that I'm making progress, which makes me feel good. I think most people need progress to feel good in life. So firstly, that story was telling me that I was making progress. But the ending of that story was, I'm going to be muscular. You see now, when you tell yourself that I'm skinny, in the now you're skinny, in the future you're skinny. But when you tell yourself I'm getting large, you're not telling yourself you're large now, but you're telling yourself you're making progress and that the ending is going to be so much better. So make sure that the story you're telling yourself genuinely helps you, that it leads you to a better place. And again, if you're interested in my paid community where I help skinny people personally gain weight, click the first link in the description. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope that you can see that there's more to this fitness. There's more to bodybuilding. I think the mental side is probably more important than the physical side, because so many people come out with body dysmorphia. So I'm going to make a video on that. Cheers, gents.